Hello and welcome, my dear friend. There's this strange feeling that's hard to explain. It's not quite confusion, not exactly anxiety. It's more like an ache, a mismatch, like your skin doesn't quite fit the life you're standing in. You've probably been asking yourself, why does everything feel off, even when nothing looks wrong? But deep down, you already know the answer. The life that once felt like a home now feels like a hallway. The way you used to talk, just to fill silence. The dreams you kept putting off so you wouldn't scare anyone with how serious they really are. The version of you that kept your real thoughts to yourself so things wouldn't get uncomfortable. That version of your life? You're quietly stepping out of it. And your body, it's feeling the change. You're tired in a new way. Certain places drain you. Certain people don't feel like home anymore, no matter how long they've been in your story. You're not confused. You're changing. And this change isn't surface level. It's not just about habits or mindsets or morning routines. God is literally changing your body, because He's preparing you to hold something your old life couldn't carry. And the resistance you're feeling right now, that's the body and the mind doing exactly what they were designed to do. Protect the status quo. Hold the patterns. Preserve what kept you alive until now, no matter how small you feel in it. But here's the thing. Your soul isn't interested in the kind of safety that keeps you from experiencing anything just because it might hurt. Your soul knows the truth God put inside you before you were ever here. It knows what's real, what's right, what's yours. And when your current life starts to drift away from that truth, your soul doesn't stay quiet. It screams. It screams through restlessness. It screams through that weird heaviness you can't explain. It screams through every part of your life that suddenly stops making sense. And it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're ready for more. But we're taught to ignore that scream, to call it overthinking, to blame ourselves for being ungrateful or restless. And instead of listening inward, we start looking outward, at everyone else's highlight reels, at the people who look like they've figured it all out, at the loud, shiny versions of success the world says we're supposed to chase. And we think, maybe I'm just not enough yet. Maybe if I worked harder, smiled more, got better at pretending, maybe then the ache would go away. But the truth is this: you were never meant to blend in. Imagine your life looking just like everyone else's. What would be the point of God choosing you? Your path was never going to be smooth or predictable because you weren't called to be comfortable. You were called to carry something sacred. And that sacred thing, it needs space. It needs a body that can hold it. It needs a life that fits. So yes, the shift feels strange. Yes, your body is resisting. Your mind is trying to keep you in what's familiar. But God isn't asking your comfort for permission. He's asking your spirit to follow what He already planted in you. You're being loosened from the survival systems that kept you alive, so you can step into a life that actually allows you to live. You see, your soul already knows where this is going. It's not confused. It's not waiting for a sign. It's been whispering the same truth for years. But now, it's no longer whispering. It's screaming. Because you're ready. Because you've already started. Because the old rhythm doesn't match the new assignment anymore. And it's not just emotional. It's physical. That exhaustion you can't explain? That ache in your chest when you ignore your gut? The sudden urge to pull away from what once made you feel important? That's not weakness. That's God rewiring you. You are not the same person you used to be, so your body can't move the same way it used to. Your mind can't stay loyal to what used to keep it distracted. And that's a good thing, because the moment you start to go inward, the moment you stop asking others for confirmation of what you already feel in your gut, the moment you start choosing alignment over performance, that's when everything starts to make sense. Not all at once, not perfectly, but clearly enough to say, I know this is the way, even if no one else understands it yet. And you may be the only one in your circle who feels it. The only one who can't go back to pretending, the only one who sees through the noise now. But that's not proof you're off track. That's proof you're chosen. Because being chosen doesn't always feel powerful. Sometimes it feels like being the only one who can't unsee what they've seen. But you're not alone. You're just being called forward. Now, let's talk about what this shift actually feels like. Because if you're honest, it's not always glamorous or peaceful, and it definitely doesn't feel like what people describe when they talk about spiritual breakthroughs. It feels like losing interest in what used to excite you. It feels like watching yourself go through the motions. It feels like knowing something needs to change, but not knowing where to start. And while it might feel like you're stuck, you're not. You're just not aligned with the version of your life that no longer speaks the same language as your soul. That's why everything feels tight. That's why you're tired, but not just physically. That's why even when you're surrounded by people, you still feel alone. Your body is trying to keep you inside what it knows, because biologically, safety means familiarity, even if that familiarity is spiritually draining. But your soul, it's been ready to move. And now the pressure is building because the gap between where you are and where you're called to be is not ignorable. So the tension you feel isn't weakness. It's the signal. It's your inner life telling you that what once fit no longer does. And not because something's wrong with you, but because something's right. Because when God reminds you of your purpose, your posture begins to shift. And when your posture shifts, your path starts to bend with it. And sometimes that means breaking the routine that once helped you survive. You may find yourself crying and not knowing why, pulling back from people without meaning to, waking up in the middle of the night with an ache you can't name. And I want to tell you, that's not you falling apart. That's you being rearranged. It's uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar, but it's also divine because it's intentional. The old life around you is too small for the next thing God is forming inside you, so you might not feel understood right now. You might not feel productive. You might not feel like you're moving fast enough. But your soul isn't asking for speed. As always, it's asking for alignment. See, you've been led by love before, but now you're being led by truth. And truth doesn't always feel soft and warm. Sometimes it feels like disruption. Sometimes it feels like everything falling apart, just so something deeper can finally come together. And I know that voice in your mind is loud. The one that says you're being dramatic, that nothing's wrong, that you should be grateful for the life you already have. But that voice is trained to protect your past. It's not equipped to build your future. So if your soul is screaming, if something inside of you is tugging, burning, refusing to settle, it's because God is bringing you into a life that your body hasn't caught up to yet. Your nervous system is still wired for survival. Your thoughts are still used to filtering everything through the lens of what makes sense or what will be accepted. But your purpose isn't designed to make sense to the crowd. It's designed to make peace with your soul. And the moment you trust that, the moment you stop waiting for permission to listen inward again, you'll feel something click. Not because the discomfort ends overnight, but because you'll stop fighting a war that's already been decided. You're not lost, and you're definitely not broken. You're becoming. And becoming isn't clean. It's not always clear, but it's honest, and it's holy. So, if your body feels tired right now, let it rest. If your emotions feel scattered, give them space. If your mind is spiraling, bring it back to stillness. Because your soul, it's never been confused. It knows. It's always known. And the more you listen, the louder it gets. Not to overwhelm you, but to remind you. You're not meant to keep adjusting to a life that your spirit has already left. You're being invited somewhere higher, And God isn't just changing your circumstances, He's changing you from the inside out, so you can finally step into a life that was always meant to feel like home. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If this message resonated, please like, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to stay connected. Continue your awakening journey by choosing one of the videos on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there.